boss. I'm in charge.
This is a realistic lifetime vacuum tube sold by Radio Shack, 6BQ6 EL84. This is an actual full-on, legit, Grundig Majestic, I don't know what you'd call this, consolette radio record player. And there were a bunch of different German knockoff names, but this is actually the real thing. This came out of a friend of mine's TV shop that closed up. It's all in pieces. That's how it was. I don't know if the customer got an estimate and refused the repairs. I don't know what happened, but I don't know if I have all the pieces. So let's take a look at it. It's covered in Sam's 409, and it's a Grundig 7000. And this is from 1958. Now here's the chassis right here. And it looks like what might have been going on is they were attempting to change the dial cord, because this is all, the dial cord is broken and this is all disassembled. And you almost can't blame them for bailing out on a dial cord job. Anyone that's ever changed a dial cord knows that it is a real time-consuming IQ challenge, and usually just repairing one of these German radios is a real IQ challenge in general. The last one I did turned into a mega operation. I did order the dial cord off of eBay. The phonograph is missing. I don't care about that. I'm going to be giving this radio to someone, if it works, I'm going to give it to somebody to put on display in the waiting room of their office. Cabinet's in a little worse shape than this speaker setup. It's got the big ass driver there, and then it's got two electrostatic tweeters. But this is going to make for a very challenging repair with the chassis in here and the tuner out there. I have no idea what that's for. I have no idea what that's for. I have no idea what that's for. These are screws. These look like the knobs and more screws. Hell, maybe the customer attempted to fix it themselves and gave up. It's just like a roll of wire. And here's the dial glass, a faceplate. Is it all here? I don't know. Now I think the best way to go about attacking this, because I'm coming into the middle of somebody else's repair attempt, is to try and get this to work without the dial cord, and then if this works, replace the appropriate capacitors and put the dial cord on. Looks like the 6BQ5 is bad. Looks like it went to air. So we'll need to find one of those. And in the last one, I guess these transformers are notorious for going bad. I won't go through that again. This thing will get put on the train tracks before I do that. So I just unscrewed the fuse. I don't know why, but just to look. And of course you see that, and you know, you automatically start thinking a little bit more closely about the train tracks. First thing I'm doing is gluing this antenna thing back in so it doesn't get ruined. I just cleaned it off and used some of this Permatex Ultra Gray. I'm a big fan of this stuff. It is really good, strong bond on just about everything. And I think the next thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to remove this wire. I'm going to just maybe cut it. Take some pictures and cut it. There's only really 2 wires. I don't know what the point of this is. Even better, what I've done is I just ohmed it out and marked it with my lovely fingernail polish I found in the yard. I don't know who would go for a bright blue, but okay, whatever. Works for me. So I've got it marked there. Look at this. Telefunken EL84. Nothing but the best. But unfortunately it looks like it's gassed out. The getter's gone, except up there in the tip. So it looks like it went to air. Okay, here we go. I still have the 6BQ5 pulled out, and I put a 150 watt lamp in series with the line power. I don't like this bypassed fuses crap. That it's a recipe for turning a shorted rectifier into a fried transformer. So here we go. Let's just see what happens here. Oh. One thing that's interesting I've always noticed is these German radios, they all seem to have a ton of hours on them. The lamps are always burned out, so people must have really enjoyed these. It's glowing. And with a ton of hours, I'm sure this thing is dead. EM34, which I don't care about the eye tube. I'm not one of those people that gets a boner over an eye tube. I got an eye tube in my capacitor tester if I need it. Okay. Can't tell. Okay, I found a realistic lifetime 6BQ5, and realistic lifetime are garbage. Garbage right out of the box, they're garbage. But let's pop it in and try it. Alright, here goes. Should we do the FM, AM, or broadcast? So we got off phono broadcast. Off phono broadcast. Yeah, it's lighting up at least. At least it does that much. This volume control is also frozen, and I tried oiling it, but it looks like it's been frozen. You can see where it looks like someone was twisting hard on it. Oh, well, there's... There's some humming there. Very, very low. I'm questioning this EABC thing. I don't see it glowing. It's getting warm, but I don't see it glowing. Like you could see that one. I don't see anything in a couple of these. I'm not seeing any light, and not that that's, well, I can see it in that one, but not that that's the greatest diagnostic procedure. But I'm not, just these two, this one and this one, it's hot, but it's dark. I don't see anything. Maybe it's time to actually pull the tube tester out, something I rarely do. This is the EABC 80, and this is a 4-part tube, so G 1, 2, and 6. So G, that's 6, that's 2, and that's 1. So it's good. It's checking good. No grid leakage. I'm going to turn the voltage, the filament voltage, all the way down to 1, and we'll see if it drops off. It's just so odd that you can't see it glowing inside at all. It's dropping. There it goes. So that guy's good. Mr. EF89. I'm only on 4 volts here. I always try and test them a volt low. At least with this tester, it gives me a better idea of the actual quality. This is good too. Alright, what was this one? ECH 81. So E2, that's E2, and E9. Ooh. That one seems a little bit weak, doesn't it? Warm it up a little bit, crank it up to 6 volts. Seems like I remember one of these testing like this. 7 to 8 volts. That should really get it cranked up. Nope. I'm not going to condemn that yet. And the ECC 85 FM tuner tube test. Perfect. So check this out. This is the realistic lifetime EL84. Remember what I said? Check this out. That's emissions. I'm going to go to leakage. Alright. Now I'm going to go to shorts. Alright, let's give this another go. I doubt it's going to improve anything. This is a Soviet 6P14. You get these off of eBay. Usually have to wait for them to come from that part of the world. Anyway, here goes. I don't think that this thing being leaky would have made it absolutely 100% quiet. I hope I'm wrong though. I think I am wrong.
A painter who did the portrait of Washington. And not push forward like in the pros, in the run game. That's how come when you look at drafting big linemen, strong linemen, you want to go to USC, you want to go to UCLA, you want to go to SEC country, you want to go to the Big Ten country, you want...
Don't wait and then tonight go, oh, forgot to do that. Oh,
Needs an antenna. Alright. Let's keep the camera rolling. Annoy everybody with your movement.
$100 a month, and you can do that, that'd be great. But if you can't, this is your time. This is your moment right now. You can be a part of making sure your K-Lab station's fully funded.
Video that I want. Please day one. For yourself. Hell is kind and warming.
Animal hospital.
I was calling about some information on putting the dog down, putting the dog to sleep.
Okay. What size dog is it?
He's a shepherd, so
Over 60 pounds, what'd you say?
I would think so, yeah. Yeah, let's get.
Celebrate the white mob violence that killed thousands of African Americans throughout U.S. history. Instead, it was black journalists, most notably Ida B. Wells, who exposed the horrors of lynching.
Weed market, meaning a 10% excise tax.
See you, branch, for your exclusive discount.
Okay. I just gotta see this again because I just can't believe that it would be totally quiet, even with the tube kind of leaky. You'd think you'd get something through it. Shorted, leaky, whatever. Yeah, I actually am getting something through it. Go back to the 6P14.
What station are you listening to? Or if you're listening to the iHeartRadio app, please note that. And text it over to 22987. You can also check in on Twitter at The Woody Show with the hashtag Friday Turnup. We get into the weekend next.
Alright, let's have some fun with this.
Touch with both North Korea and South Korea. We'll be setting up a meeting very shortly. We have it broken down to probably 2 sites now, 2 or 3 sites.
Correspondent Ben Tracy is in Seoul. North Korea has promised to denuclearize in the past and not actually done that, but Kim Jong-un does.
All right, here's where we're at with this.
He's no longer going to interrupt.
I'm trying to lubricate this and get it to loosen up. I lubricated this and got it to loosen up. It works. I'm going to change some capacitors on the bottom here, mostly coupling capacitors that would damage these valvos. Wait, what do we call it here? Yeah, valvo. So we'll change some capacitors on the bottom, and I'll be back when I get... Oh, we got to find a nice way to destroy this realistic tube. Okay. Maybe the blender in slow motion. Waiting for the dial cord to come. And then the suffering can really begin. Alright, this is the inside of the Vitamix blender I was going to grind the tube up with, and it's totally died. I did an EOL with this, and there was something wrong with the circuitry. So I'm looking at how to bypass this thing, and I think if I just take, yeah, well, I just bypassed it and it should work good on 110 volts, and it did the first time, but now it seems to be you know, I could just, God, that stinks. You know, I could just let this destruct. You could hear it started there. Ooh, baby. You know what? I was gonna EOL this tube in the blender. I was gonna grind it up for fun, but I might just let the blender EOL. Alright, let's have some fun with this. Let's see. That's 30 frames per second. Let me do the slow-mo. Okay, here we go again. Let's try this again. Okay, so again, this is the Vitamix blender that I got from the TV shop, and I did an EOL where I made a circuit board and vacuum tube smoothie with Monster Energy drink as the lubricant. So I guess we killed it, and I brought it home. I was going to do some more EOLs with it, but anyway, let's just let it finish off. Into the line for a Vitamix blender. Okay, the record player is missing out of this, and I really don't plan on using it, but for cosmetic I'd like it to be in there. I have this Majestic, and this is not a stereo, this is just mono. The turntable might be stereo. 602 ARGX, Majestic International, Chicago. And this thing was left outside. It's in real bad shape. So I think what I'm going to do is Mr. Majestic here is going to go in the trash, and I'm going to part it out. The dial cord broke on this one too. Crap, the power transformer on this one's back there. Regardless, this needs to go. Maybe this has some... what a cluster, man. EOL'd. So this will fit in here with a little modification. Alright, I kept the motor board out of the Majestic, and the guy that's adopting this, he restores record players, so I'm just getting the thing operational. and then he can put this together if he wants it. It's all there. So that Majestic record player will work in here. And also I've kept the old Majestic receiver. I just stuck it in the bottom down here for parts. So we'll just leave that there. And I actually pulled one of the 6BQ5s out of that and put it in the one we're fixing up. So the next part of this video is going to be restringing this dial cord and attempting to reassemble this thing that I did not disassemble. Back to the Grundig. The dial cord arrived. This is 15 feet or 5 meters. Is about $9 to have this shipped. 31 thousandths, I don't know what that is. There's a couple different sizes. I don't know what 31 thousandths in millimeters is. Anyway, I took the opportunity to clean this off. I washed it. And I took a picture of the SAMs, the phone. And this is going to be, well, there's already a mistake here. They show this down here as looping around, which it doesn't loop around. It's two separate wires. And notice these crimps they have on the wire, and they also have springs, and this doesn't show the springs. And they don't show any springs up here either, which I'm not quite sure how that works. Anyway, tuning gang fully closed, and I guess I'm just gonna try and make this up as I go along. I think what I can do, the way this threads through here, I think what I can do is I can size it up with this face off, and then because that gives me pretty easy access to this whole thing. And then from there I'll just put the face on. I'll have to disconnect it. You can see the discrepancy in what they got here versus that. So anyway, yeah, let me work on it. I'm gonna try and tie a figure 8 in the end of this. I don't even know if that's possible, but I will try and let the brain busting game commence. That is a figure 8. Probably the simplest, most common knot we use when we are going to rappel into a mine on the life-rated safety rope. This will not come out. A lot of the time, just keep this in mind, a lot of the time the SAMs is wrong. They change they revise the radio or whatever. The guy at SAMs was just stoned when he drew the drawing. I'm sure there's going to be a lot of comments. I just hate dial cords. I just throw it away if the dial cord's bad. Well, dial cords take two things. They take some intelligence and some patience, and you got to have both of those. But anyway, I was going to say you can see I'm pulling on this. There's quite a bit of stretch in this. So I think I could probably get away without the spring. But anyway, just following the SAMs, and you got to really, think carefully as you thread this through what goes on top of what and what lays where, because if you don't, and that says 2 turns around that, and I got 2 turns there, and I don't know. If you don't think about it, it's going to cross up and bind. Okay, I'm playing with it, and I actually think I could use a 3rd turn around this down here. So I think I'll put that in because it turned one way and then it won't go back. Yeah, I'm just holding on to it here. Well, I actually think I got it, and that was too easy. So what you want to do is when you do this, you want to rotate it and you want to watch that at no point the cord doesn't overlap or cross or untangle or tangle. And the same on this one. Now I feel like I got it a little bit too tight, especially when I thread it through that thing. So the nice thing about the figure eights is you can tie them right in the middle of the rope. You don't have to cut the rope to tie a figure eight, and you can loosen them and move them around. So I think what I'm going to do is, if I have to loosen it up, what I'll do is I'll just take a pair of pliers and I'll bend this in a little bit. But let me get the faceplate, because the faceplate's going to even, and this will stretch as it ages. It's brand new. It's not like it's old and it's already pre-stretched. In fact, look at the size difference in the wire the dial cord they had and the dial cord we're replacing it with, and you can see the loop looks almost like wire. It feels almost like metal wire. It's weird. So what I'm doing now is I'm just kind of trying to align this stupid thing right here. Because see, we stopped short there, and over here we overrun. So I'll move it back a little bit. That's pretty close. Maybe it could go a little bit. Actually, you need to hook it up and see where the stations fall. Okay, this is K-Earth 101, and that's pretty close. So let's try AM. KNX is 1070. Boy, I cleaned this thing up. It sure does look better. Yeah, FM was channelized originally. It was supposed to be... Oh, wait a minute. I'm being stupid. This is FM. This is AM down here. Well, no, it's about right. Once I put it in, it'll be close. So let's see. KNX is 10.
The brand says the prices of vanilla and Baskin-Robbins ice cream have gotten so high, it's launching a task force to look at the problem. Bloomberg's Leslie Patton says the company has some other ideas too.
They're experimenting with some different flavors. They're trying to negotiate lower prices on other ice cream ingredients.
I think it needs to go to the right just a tad.
The cost of worker turnover at Baskin-Robbins.
You come and go. You come and go.
From our new pool experience at Paula Casino Spa.
1260, the oldies station. It's coming in. Yeah, I think this is pretty damn close. Alright, now the next step is figuring out how to put something all back together that someone else probably took apart 15 years ago. I'm finding the screws, but some of these look like they're from a VCR. Some of these are, all the screws in this German stuff, they're all flathead, tap screws. They're not these self-tapping sheet metal crap like those right there. Nah, it's these ones with threads on them, actual metric threads.
night.
Take case responsibly. Imported by Cervezas Me.
What are you going to one of your...
Okay, I'm liking how this is coming out. I'm getting there. I think I'm missing one screw there. But next we'll put it in the cabinet, and I kind of don't want these lights to work because where it's going to be used, we don't need the lights, and that's just infrared radiation to kind of cook that dial cord. Of course, if the other one was metal, infrared radiation wouldn't hurt it, but this is nylon or whatever this thing is. Anyway, we'll put it back in the cabinet, and I probably should have tested the speakers in the cabinet before I did all this. That's kind of my rule. I might end up screwed. Let's have a little fun here. This is the Realistic Lifetime 6BQ5. 6 volts, 8 volts, 10 volts, 14 volts, 20 volts, 30 volts. Looks like the short just cleared out. $50 volts. End of the line. Alright, here's the broken Telefunken. Should be able to get some... Oh yeah, there we go. 20 volts. Hey, it's glowing. Glowing without a vacuum. And there she goes.
Happy that you are alive. Yeah. From the back.
But I gotta take it. It's a blessing.
For a store near you, visit flooranddecor.com.
Driving the car on here. This broadcast.
My name is Asco.
To resort in Mexico. Not been to Tijuana.
The FM seems a little weak. When I walk around, the volume goes up and down, and these really shouldn't do that. I'm going to try changing this one. I think it was that one right there that was weak. Okay, that seems much better. I pulled the ECH 81 out of there, and now when I walk around, well, okay, this is the proof right here. This is K-Jazz, which is, you know, on the weak side here, and this is the old ECH 81. Listen to the difference. And I realize the compressor in the camera will cover this up. We'll go to the other one out of the other. This is the other one. Let it warm up. It's a night and day difference. That one is roasted, just as the tube tester suggests. Okay, I put a new old stocky CH81 in there, and now it's really cranked up. And yes, the fidelity is phenomenal on this. It's really sounds very good. Try and clean this cabinet up a little bit and check this out. Horrible. Well, I don't know if this was a smoker set or what, but I've never seen a cabinet so filthy. Anyway, I'm going to try and go over some of these scratched, scuffed areas with these crayons, these cabinet patch-all pencil crayons. And look at, there's your avocado green. It really is quite an attractive radio, and it sounds really good.
Alone in a crowd on
An interview I did with
I like stunning, I like shining, I like $1 million deals. Where's my pen? I'm going to the jeweler. I put rocks all in my watch. I like texts from my exes when they want a second chance. I like proving.
Head to the east, hit the stroll tonight so we can roll big hot sheets. I wish I could fake that, but I'm no budget. Still rolling the two, don't cut the same old button. Let me touch you, girl.
brothers. 877-971 hit.
And then we're gonna take your name.
Freedom.
Romans 13 gives government the power.
Charles Mangard, Saddleback Eye Center. I will give
Sing it with me right now.
What?
Doesn't matter anymore.
O eso está realmente.
Like a river flows surely to the sea.
Groomsmen that purchase 5 tuxedos or suits will receive all accessories at no cost, including shirt. Your status.
I wanna stand out from the crowd. They can shout my name out loud, 'cause I'm a don't-reach guy.
High interest credit card debt bearing you every month?
Women of America, are you in charge?
I'm in charge.
So when you shop, you can say,
I'm in charge.
that's real clout.
When you carry master charge, you carry clout.
If you're a homeowner with equity, we can drop that interest. Y en su visita empata.
This thing is great. This thing rocks. And it looks good too. I'm surprised at how good this came out. I think a lot of people are really going to enjoy this. I gotta still do something here. I just pulled this off of the platter because it looks so bad, but there's the model. Yeah, maybe I'll clean this out in here. You know, I shouldn't give my friends across the pond the satisfaction of what I'm about to say, but this is a true statement. The fidelity of these German radios far surpasses the American stuff. The American stuff on FM always seems to have some high-end roll-off. It seems like anything above 5 kilohertz is cut off, and even when you modify them, they still don't wake up and sound as crisp as these German radios do. If I was in the market for one of these in the 60s, and I was to hear this sitting next to a Zenith or an RCA, I would take this home. You can't deny that the thing just sounds much better. By the way, I did recap all of the paper capacitors and I replaced that fuse. So it's got the appropriate protection in it now if something shorts. I didn't change the rectifier or the electrolytic. I know this can short, but it'll just take that fuse out. Not real worried about it. The electrolytics seem to have a lot less problems than the papers.